Hey there, it's Latrina. I'm back in the kitchen, and today we are going to talk about tofu. Tofu is one of those things that whenever I bring it up about me having it or preparing it, most people turn their nose up because they don't understand what it is, or when they see what it looks like, they're like, what is that? And so today I want to give you a quick indoctrination to tofu, some of the benefits of it, and also I'm going to demonstrate one of my favorite ways to prepare it. And a few days later in this week, I'm also going to show you a couple of other recipes, but I just want to keep it simple today, introduce you to it and show you a really quick recipe, and then some other ways you can use it in future videos later this week. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is what is tofu? Tofu is it's just a soybean, right? It's made from soybeans, I should say that. So it is plant-based and it's made from soybeans, but it's actually like the curdling of the soy milk that's been coagulated with magnesium and like calcium or whatever. So it has high minerals in there. So you got your calcium, your iron, and your protein. And for the most part, it's considered to be minimally processed and healthy alternative to animal protein. I had conflicts with it when I first became a vegan, over a decade ago, years ago, but it's been so much research and science on it over the years that I'm really okay with it. But you can do your own research, but for the most part, it is considered a healthy alternative to meat. Now, there are different variations of it, and that's really going to depend on the type of result you get, depending on what type of tofu you buy. And what I mean by that is, like, I always buy the extra firm. So you'll see firm, extra firm, and you will also see like super firm. And they have different consistencies, a different firmness. And because I tend to make tofu scrambles, or I might make tacos with it, or sometimes even add it to like spaghetti if I want spaghetti with the protein in there, that is a really good consistency to be able to use that for. With the extra firm, you can do like baking with it, you can do grilling with it, you can treat it several different ways after you marinate it, get some good flavor in there. And it's got a greater consistency, so you can manipulate it a lot better in things like for baking and grilling. So that's really the main thing, but it's really got a lot of water in it, so you have to drain the water. I'm gonna show you that in a second. But I'm just gonna get to making my first meal for you guys this week, and that's gonna be a tofu scramble. Here are the two variations of tofu that I spoke about earlier, the extra firm tofu, and then we have the super firm tofu. They have two different consistencies. For our tofu scramble, today we'll be using the extra firm tofu, and I'll be adding in some onions, some mushrooms, some tomato, some spinach, and at the end there we'll top it with some avocado. But for the mixture, it's going to be the nutritional yeast, black pepper, turmeric, salt, garlic powder, and red pepper flakes at the end. The color comes from the nutritional yeast and the turmeric. That's gonna give it that golden yellowish color that you would have for scrambled eggs. So this is what we're starting with, and now we'll get busy to put it together. So once I split up my tofu, you'll see here what it looks like. Tofu has a lot of water in it, so you have to be sure to drain the water out of it. So once I split it open and I've drained the water out of there, tofu is really soft, and this is extra firm, but it's still pretty soft. But it's basically just a big block of soybeans that have been packaged together. So this is pretty much how it comes out of the package, and then you'll have to work with it to turn it into what it is that you want it to be, your own little masterpiece. Since this is tofu scramble, it's really easy just to mash this up so that it already looks like scrambled eggs. So I just get it separated here before I start adding my seasonings to it. So you can see why extra firm is better for this, because it's softer to manipulate, and it's already looking like scrambled eggs without all the color, as far as like the consistency of an actual egg. So that's step one, getting that right. So let's add in the ingredients for the mixture here. So I start out with the nutritional yeast. And I don't really have measurements. I just kind of play around with it to get the colors that I need. Turmeric. Get my garlic powder there. A little salt. A little pepper. And then I just mix this all together for the color. And for me, I will typically just keep adding in a little bit of the turmeric and the nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast also has great protein as well. So for 2 tablespoons, it's like maybe 5 grams of protein and 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. But I'm just mostly doing this for color. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory, so turmeric is really good for you. And honestly, that doesn't really change the taste too much because I'm going to add in flavor with my sauteed veggies. But for now, I'm just really just trying to get my coloring right. So you can see that it's starting to get that color and consistency of scrambled eggs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding my veggies to the wok here. Start out with my onions, and I tend to do the onions first because they do add that layer of flavor. And then I add the tofu and started adding in the mushrooms a little later because they cook much faster. And the tofu takes a little longer. I like the consistency of my tofu to be a little crispy in places. I just like the way that tastes to me. So add a little bit of mushrooms to get those going. Add the remaining tofu to the mixture. And we're going to let that cook for just a few minutes until I get it browned and cooked the way I like it. It takes a little more time for me to get the seasoning just right, but I did put a little more salt in there. And now that it's at the consistency that I'm starting to want, then I add in my tomatoes and my veggies because it's almost pretty much done right now, and I like to get those things in there towards the end. So I'll go ahead and put my spinach in there and my tomatoes, and we'll just get this kind of mixed in there a little bit. Let the spinach roll, and we're pretty much almost done. You're starting to see how that finished product is coming to life and how colorful and pretty that is with the tomatoes, the spinach, the mushrooms are in there. I have red onions in there and just the tofu scramble itself. So it's looking really good. And so now we're going to move it over to some toast and finish it up. As I get ready to finish off my meal here, I added 2 slices of Ezekiel bread, the sprouted grain version. I spread my avocado on top of my 2 slices of toast. I've added the tofu scramble on top of the toast with the avocado. I like a little kick, so I'm gonna sprinkle a little red pepper flakes on here. Doesn't that look good? So now it's time for a taste test. Now, before I taste it, I will tell you that this is full of a lot of great nutrients. So I shared before that the tofu is high in protein. So tofu, for every 3 ounces in the pack, it's like 9 grams of protein. And because I cooked about 7 ounces, I split the block in half, and I cooked that, and I'll leave some for later, for tomorrow. But just that entire part that I cooked, that would be like 20 grams of protein. And then the nutritional yeast, what I sprinkled on there to give it the color with the turmeric, it's 5 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons. And I definitely have at least 2 tablespoons in there, a little bit more, because I just keep adding it in as I'm trying to get more color. So you have that, you have the spinach, you have the Ezekiel toast that I use, and that's like 4 grams of protein per slice. So if you're looking at this from a health perspective and talking about how people say that vegans don't get enough protein, this entire thing, if I ate just all of it for breakfast and like a brunch or something like that, you're looking at pretty much about 30 grams of protein right there in just these, 2 slices. And that's a lot, but it doesn't go down like a lot because it's very light. but it's a lot of protein, a lot of nutrients, and the avocado gives you that added fat that you need, so to keep you satiated. So this meal right here would take me through the morning until lunch easily. So having said all that, now let's go ahead with the taste test. And this is quite a big piece, so I'm gonna taste it. And I like to do it with this way. You can do it without topping it like an open-faced sandwich, but I like the crunch that you get from the toast. I love it. It's really good. I held back on over seasoning, so I put most of the salt in there while I was cooking it, tasting it to test it. But it gives you a really good bite, and you taste the avocado and the red pepper flakes. And so what I also didn't mention about nutritional yeast, it kind of mimics like a cheese flavor, but not cheesy. So you have all of that that's going on in here. But so this is a really simple, quick meal that you can make from tofu, and it's a great breakfast option, or actually any time of the day, but it's a tofu scramble. I hope you'll give it a try. Let me know what you think. So we'll have more recipes this week about what you can do with tofu, but in the meantime, bon appetit.